Namaskar, Dada. Uh, I thank Dada Anudhyananandji for giving me this opportunity to talk about the most important subject in the world, and also something which is most important in our lives, particularly for me. Today is Tuesday, September 14, 2021, and the time is about 2 p.m. Why this date is important is because I was initiated into Ananda Marga sometime in 1966, and this was something very interesting because I was a student in one of the missionary colleges in Nagpur, Maharashtra, India. And one of my friends told us he had somebody visiting from Ananda Marga who wanted to talk about how the creation took place, and he wanted some audience for the speech. So about 6 or 7 or 8 friends, we all said we'll go and listen to the talk. Now this talk was given by one gentleman in civilian clothes, kurta dhoti, and he was introduced to us as one of the directors in All India Radio in Raipur, another town. And we all thought that this represented quite a responsible officer whom we could trust on what information he was giving us. And he was very good in his speech. He had a blackboard set up, and he explained the philosophy of creation as given by Shrii Shrii Ananda Murti ji in Ananda Marga, how the creation took place, Sanchar Kriya, Prati Sanchar Kriya, all that he explained, which was quite interesting. But towards the end of his talk, he also mentioned that this was not his original ideas, but these were all ideas from his as Guru Shrii Shrii Ananda Murti ji, who lived in Jamalpur in Bihar, and if anyone wanted to find out, his Guru, he said, was Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna incarnate. Now, being a student of undergraduate class and a science student, we were quite curious to find out how could anyone claim that another person whom he knew could be almost like God. So I asked him, I said, Acharya ji, how can we confirm, how can we find out? And he said, you learn meditation, you practice for about 6 months, you go to Jamalpur, and you have Baba's personal contact. So I thought this was a good idea, and I said, where do I learn the meditation? And he said, one Acharya was due to come in a couple of days. I could contact him and learn the meditation from him. So when the Acharya came, his name was Nirmohanand Avdut, and I went to meet with him, and I liked him a lot. He was quite young, and very energetic, and he explained about Yam Niyam, and he initiated me into the Ananda Marga system of doing meditation. And he said that at least 6 months I should practice before he would give me more lessons, and then I could visit Jamalpur. So 6 months I kept practicing regularly, and when my summer vacation came, took the train to Jamalpur. Now when we got to Jamalpur, this was sometime at 8:30 in the morning. We were full of dust, sweat. As you know, the travel in India in train is not that comfortable. So when we got to the Jamalpur ashram, I heard somebody saying, "Baba is coming, Baba is coming." So I said, why should Baba see me in this sweaty condition? So I stood behind a pillar to see who or how, what Baba looked like. And I saw a gentleman in white Bengali kurta, dhoti, glasses, and an umbrella in his right hand, walking into the courtyard, and he had a beaming smile on his face, and he was doing namaskar to everybody. He went straight into a room, and the activity started. And I told Dada, I said, "Dada, before you give me chance for a personal contact, could I run up and have a shower and come back?" And he said, "Don't take more than 5 minutes." So I ran, took a shower, and I was back. And I was standing, I think, number 4 in the line. And when my turn came, I was told to do Sashtang Namaskar. So I went inside and did Sashtang Namaskar. And Baba was half reclined on his hard bed. So he said, "Come closer, come closer." So I went nearer and sat near the bed. And he asked me, "What is your name?" I gave my name, Naveen Joshi, Baba. And then he said, "Where have you come from?" I said, "Nagpur, Maharashtra." And then I see him close his eyes, and I was so near his face that I could see the pupils of his eyes focus or merge in the point between the two eyebrows, just like two small fish concentrating on a spot. And Baba remained in that state maybe for a few seconds, and then he opened his eyes. And the question he asked me was, "Why have you come so late?" And I was startled because I didn't expect him to ask me. I said, "Baba, I was trying, and I must have mumbled something." And then he said, "Yes, the search was there." And then he asked me a few more questions. And at the end of the interview, he brought his palm, open palm, closer to my face and made the sound shoo like that, and spoke a Sanskrit mantra which I could not understand the meaning. And he said, "Remember, my boy, this life is a mission. It is not for crude enjoyment." And this sentence he repeated 3 times. And after that he said, "You can go now." So I did namaskar again, Sashtang namaskar, and came out. And the Dadas waiting outside asked, says, what happened? What do you think now? I said, Dada, it's too early for me to think anything. At this time my mind is just totally blank. And a short while later it was told that Baba was going to give a group talk. And when we all went inside, he said, he was sitting down on his hard bed, and we were about 20-25 people in the room, and he said, today I will speak to you on the first shlok of Bhagavad Gita. And he recited the shlok, and he explained each word to word, about the meaning of the shlok. And until he came to a word called tug of war, and he asked everybody, what is the correct pronunciation of tug of war? We were just listening, and he said, tug of war means pulling from two sides, and it is pronounced as tug of war. And so this was the first time I heard the inner meaning of the first shlok of Bhagavad Gita. I am not going into the details, but all of you know the first shlok where Dhritarashtra asks Sanjay, what does the army of my son and Pandavas who are assembled to fight do on the battlefield? After the talk, Baba left for his office, and it came into my mind, I have to see where Baba works. And somebody was saying in the ashram, we are not allowed to go to Baba's office. So I said, still let me try to see, or at least go close to the office. So in the afternoon I had the address, and I reached the office, which was around 4 o'clock, and I see a big iron door, and this was the Jamalpur railway workshop where Baba used to work. So I was standing outside the gate when a truck came with deliveries, and they opened the gate, and as the truck was entering the gate, with the truck I entered the compound, and there were barracks, army style, and I wasn't sure in which barrack Baba could be. So I said, let me go one by one. So I entered the first barrack, and then I see Baba sitting on one of the long benches or tables, and I said, I did namaskar, and I said, I will quickly pass Baba so he doesn't know that I am here. And I quickly walked, because I knew the rule was not to visit Baba in the office. So I passed Baba, and when I reached the exit door, I said, now let me turn around, because Baba's back would be at me. So when I turned around and looked at him, I see him fully turned towards me and looking at me. So I did namaskar, and I came out and went back straight to the Jagrati. The next day it came to my mind, why should I not see where Baba stays? Again the rule was, you cannot visit Baba at his house. But I said, I know the direction in which he comes, So why not I follow that direction? So I walked there. This was evening time, about 7ish. Little dark it was. And I said, there are so many railway quarters. How do I know where Baba is? What do I see? Right in front of one of the quarters, I see Baba standing. His face was turned towards the sky. He was looking at the sky, and his eyes, I am not sure if he was open or closed, but I saw him very clearly. Had his darshan for a while, did not go close, did namaskar again and left. And the third day, when I was in Jamalpur, I said, let me go to what is called the Death Valley. So I went, and people said, you have to climb a lot on the hill. So I said, let me carry a pitcher of water with me. So I bought a water pitcher, put it on my shoulder, and kept climbing up. And when I reached the top, it was a nice sunny day. I see a temple, a Kali temple, which was quite old, locked from outside with a big padlock, and all red marks outside. And I just wandered around, looked at the temple, did namaskar to Kali idol, and I said, let me sit and rest for a while. And there was a flat stone close by. I sat on the stone and looked at the town of Jamalpur, which you could see from the top. And just then I felt alone, and lot of crying came into me. I was almost weeping like a kid. I don't know the reason why. And I said, why am I here out of all the places? 1,000 miles away from my home. Nobody knows where I am. I've gone. What if somebody just grabs me and kills me? All these thoughts were running into my mind. So I sat there for half an hour, drank some water, and then started walking down, and came to the Jagriti and told the Dada who was there. I said, Dada, this is what happened. And he said, you know, you keep going to all these places. You should have told us first, and should not be going alone all over. I said, very good, Dada. But in any case, I am leaving tomorrow. So next day morning, after having Baba's darshan, I hired a auto rickshaw and left. And while I was about to leave, I looked back at the Jagriti ashram, and again I was weeping like a child. I said, this is my home. Where am I going again? And for a moment, I was seriously thinking to cancel my ticket and to stay back. And then I said, I have to go back to do my duty. And so I took the train back to Nagpur. This was how the first experience with the great Guru was. And in the second experience, after a few years when we kept meditating, and now I was fully into Ananda Marga. We were in Jaipur, and there were a lot of Margis in Jaipur, and we heard Baba was coming to visit Jaipur, and personally I wanted that Baba stay in our house. So we started doing meditation, about few Margis and myself, Baba, please come and stay here. But the Dadas who were arranging the thing, they said, no, 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 Baba, we would rent a place for him. And they kept looking for a house until they found a house which was very near our house. So fine, that was something like a compromise. And Baba came. We all welcomed him at the airport. He came and stayed in the rented house. Everything went very smooth, very nice. All my friends who were initiated got PCs. Some got punishments, others got great love. And then, since Baba stayed for 4 or 5 days, one morning he used to, when he came back from his morning walk or field walk, he went into his room and I was standing outside. And the Dada who was outside Baba's door, I asked him, Dada, would you be kind enough to go and ask Baba permission that I can do Sashtang or PC with him again? So Dada was kind enough. He went inside and asked Baba. And when he came out, he was all red in the face, and I could imagine he had a good scolding. And he said, Baba is saying, you've already had your PC. You cannot have PC more than once. I said, that's true, Dada, but I'm sorry. Could you try one more time? And Dada was quite hesitant to go this time. But after I kept after him, he said, all right, this is the last time I'm going in. So he went in and came back again after some time. And he said, all you can do is go inside, do Sashtang and come out. I said, that's fine, Dada. So I go into the room and I did Sashtang. And Baba was reading through his newspaper. He put down his newspaper and he looked at me and he asked me in Hindi, कुछ पूछना है? Do you want to ask anything? I said, yes, Baba. He says, what do you want to ask? I said, Baba, I would like to know, will I be of service to you? And immediately he answered, it's up to you. And then again, after a few seconds, he said, अभी कुछ समय तक ऐसे ही चलेगा. That means things will remain the way they are for some time. And then he said, मैंने अपने बेटे को प्यार तो किया ही नहीं, meaning I did not love my son or child. And imagine how tall I am, probably 5'9", how heavy I am, probably 230 pounds. And when I was standing near Baba, I see him bend forward and he just lifted me up. And next I find I'm sitting in his lap. And again he said some mantra in Sanskrit and he put his palm on my forehead. And then he said, you can go, my son. So I got down and I did Sashtang again and came out. And this time I was in such a high state of mind, something like as if I was dipped in honey. I didn't know to go left or right or straight or sit down or stand up. I was just thinking what next to do when I see my car standing right outside. So I said, let me go and sit in the car for some time all by myself. So I go to the car and sat inside and just kept thinking what happened. And in that state I must have been almost 20 minutes to about half an hour, when I heard somebody knock on the door, and one Dada was standing. He said, "What happened? Why are you sitting inside the car?" So I told him, I said, "Dada, this is my experience." So he said, "Well, in that case you should go into the hall and meditate for some time." So again I went back into the hall and meditated. And last experience, which of course for me is something very precious, was they say Baba would fulfill a devotee's true desire. So since the desire in me was to have Babas at our house, he came to New Delhi, India, where I was living, and we were living in a 2-story apartment. We were on the top floor, and we went to receive Baba at the Delhi airport. And when we brought him, they had arranged a place for him to stay. And when he heard where he was going, he said, no, I'm not going to go and stay there. So there was no other alternative but to move Baba to a hotel. So there was a nice hotel close by, Ashoka Hotel. So he was moved to hotel, and while he was going up the elevator, we were all with him that time, about 4 or 5 people, and he said, "I should be ready in about 2 hours, and then we will move out to some other place." And he went into the hotel, into his room. And after that, I see his PA, Acharya Ramanandji. He comes out and he sees me standing there, and he says, "Naveen, you also stay in Delhi, right?" I said, "Yes, Dada." He says, "We are going to have Baba stay in your house. So go home, rush. We'll be there in 2 hours. Go and clean up everything." So I took my motorcycle I had, and I went full speed. When reached the house, and I told my wife, I said, "You know what? Baba is coming. Let us clean up, wash up, change everything." And so the process started, and we changed the sheets, we threw out everything. From there, the room was spick and span. And exactly in about 2 hours, we heard the horn, and Baba came. So we went down, received him, and Baba came upstairs. And when he came up, he knew exactly which room to go in. Although there were not too many rooms, but the room we had arranged for him was a nice big size room. He went straight in there, sat on the bed, and 2 days he stayed. We were all in bliss, very happy. In the first evening there were 8 dadas. Next day there were about 20, and then 40, and then the whole house was full of orange clad dadas from wherever. Whoever heard that Baba was there came straight there. So to make it short, evening time Baba many times would wear his dhoti, and in his under shirt he would walk in the corridor outside and would talk about many subjects. And sometimes he used to walk into the parlor, everybody he would address, and he was as if very comfortable in the house. And a little incident, somebody, a neighbor's lady staying in our neighborhood who was a very good cook. We had invited her to come and prepare meals for Baba because she was an excellent cook. So when Dadas came to know that she was not a Margi, they said, no, she cannot cook. She has to stay out of the kitchen. So we requested her not to cook, which obviously she felt quite bad, but then she agreed and she was standing outside. So this is how everything went very nicely, very smoothly. And then the time came for Baba to leave, and this was about 11 o'clock in the morning. Everything was ready. So I went inside his room. I did Sashtang and I said with folded hands, I said, Baba, we could not do the way it should have been done, and I'm really sorry for that. And without saying anything, his face changed. He closed his eyes and with both hands folded, he looked at me, and in a very serious voice he said, become a perfect man, and did namaskar and stood up to leave. So we came out with him, and as Baba was coming out of the room, my wife was standing near the door. He passed her, and the other lady whom we had asked to come out of the kitchen was also standing. So Baba stopped for a minute, and with folded hands he said, Mother, the food was excellent that you made. And he walked down the corridor. We all went down with him. He sat in the car and we followed him for a few, maybe like a mile, 2 miles. Then I stopped and told the driver the direction in which he should take the car, did namaskar.